Hey everyone, Imperatus here again. Going to talk to you about some more metal. Another album review. This time it's Marduk with their 1994 offering Opus Nocturne. So a little bit of a thought here. That a lot of people think black metal is a new genre. It's only been around for 10, 20, 25 years. Like I said, this album was recorded in 1994 and it was their third release. So, well, definitely some of the earliest recordings in the second wave of black metal, as far as I'm aware, at least in my opinion, and what I've also heard. This album was the first one I heard from Marduk. Shortly thereafter this, I heard their first album, Dark Endless, and then stuff going forward like Heaven Shall Burn When We Are Gathered and Nightwing. So this album really cemented Marduk's style. The hyper fast, brutal, but sometimes still invoking a sense of melody, and at other times invoking a sense of dread or melancholy in some cases. A couple of standout tracks on this album. The opening song, which is just shreds. It's one of my favorite. It's actually my second favorite on this album. That's Sulphur Souls. Absolutely fantastic. Just kick you in the face brutality. Just sheer. It's a tempest of sound, is the best way I can describe it. There are so many elements of this album that have cemented themselves into the black metal genre since this album. It is absolutely one of the albums, if you're into black metal, you need to own. Other standout tracks on this album: the melodic but absolutely shredding Autumnal Reaper, killer track, just pure in your face black metal. And with that track in particular, you can actually hear some of the song craftsmanship that this band does produce. They aren't just a cacophony of noise as much as a lot of people want to think they are. You also have a song that's based in history, a song about Vlad Tepes, aka Vlad Dracula, called Deme Quadin Thyrane. It's a more mid-paced, just dismal sounding song talking about his exploits when he was actually alive. I'll leave it at that. So many good tracks. There's 10 tracks, clocks in at about 45 50 minutes or so, give or take. It's not a long listen, just great for a short trip when to the grocery store or whatever. Marduk personally is one of my favorite black metal bands. I have no problem saying that, and I have said that many times to many people. They're aggressive, they're satanic, they're occult, they're everything that black metal emphasizes, and they've been doing it since the early 90s. So why change when you got it? As you can see from the artwork, great artwork for this album. Very just conjures the mood for this entire album. You know, this whole album would just the chaos of a Black Sabbath. You know, it's an outstanding album. I can't really say anything bad about it. Every song on here's got its own benefits, its own thing going on, so it's not like, I personally don't think there's any bad tracks on the album. There's some I like better than others, but I don't think there's a bad track on this album. And as I'm not normally one who likes remasters of albums, because sometimes they kill the soul that album had when it was recorded, the remaster that was released for this I do like, because they didn't muck with the sound at all. They just increased the volume levels so you can actually hear more of what's going on. The drummer on this era, from this era of Marduk, oh my god, amazing. And with the remaster you can really hear the fact that no, he's not just bashing his drum kit. He's really putting in work. A lot of it. His cymbal work is fantastic. Everything is precise and crisp. This era of Marduk, from this album to Heaven Shall Burn When We Are Gathered, Nightwing, and Panzer Division Marduk, the drumming is some of the best this band has ever seen or had. and it's just phenomenal to hear. It's so brutal, so precise, so on the money for what they're trying to accomplish with this album. It makes a lot of things seem, how do I put this? It puts everything that this album was trying to accomplish into focus. This is absolute aural assault on a person. And I wouldn't have Marduk or black metal in any other way. As I said, 10 tracks on the album. Sulphur Souls, From Subterranean Throne, Profound, Autumnal Reaper, Materialized in Stone, Untrodden Paths, which is also another great song. That song just punches you right in the throat as soon as it starts. No holding back. We are assaulting you. This is metal. Fucking deal with it. Opus Nocturne, Deme Quad and Thyrane, The Sun Has Failed. And then, depending on the version of the album you also get a rehearsal version of Sulphur Souls as track 10. I got the original pressing with the green label disc. The new ones are now a black CD label. So the one I have does not have the rehearsal of Sulphur Souls. I do believe that's a new thing in the remaster. Not bad if you want to hear, how these guys sound without being in a studio and don't have a chance to see them live. And it's also probably from the era when they recorded this, so kind of a little bit of a piece of history. Marduk as a whole is a piece of history. If it wasn't for Marduk, at the time when I discovered them, I had only heard one, maybe two other Swedish black metal bands, one being Dissection, and the other... I think it was Dissection and Marduk were my first two Swedish black metal bands. And then I discovered other stuff from there. So, that is how the scene was at that time. You didn't just hop on the internet and look stuff up on YouTube. You had to dig. And I remember discovering Marduk. Thankfully, still is a record store by me, and some people were working out of it from the death metal band Morpheus Descends, who are also in the black metal bands Fog and Typhus. And I believe one of them is now playing in Malignancy. I could be wrong on that. I know he's in another fairly big project. Excuse me. Those guys turned me on to a lot of bands. And honestly, the first 4 bands they exposed me to were Marduk, Dissection, Dark Throne, and Immortal. So they cemented the first 5 bands. These guys really taught me a lot at the time, as I was into death metal and metal at the time, but they really turned me on to a lot of stuff going on in the underground, and I thank them for it. So all I can say, this album, highly recommend it. If you like black metal, if you like your music fast and aggressive, check this out. You really can't go wrong with this album. Probably one of the best they've ever done. So, what more can I say? Check them out. They are a great band. I would highly recommend this album or the one that came out 3 albums after this, Panzer Division Marduk. Phenomenal album as well. And the 2 in between, Heaven Shall Burn When We Are Gathered in Nightwing, are also very, very good. I believe Nightwing actually has another more updated at the time version of Deme Quad and Thyrane. Last half of that album was pretty much talking about Vlad Tepes, so they just redid that and added it, and it works. So check these guys out, check this album out. I'll be doing more reviews in the future, so if you like what you're seeing and hearing, give me a sub, give me a follow. You can find me on Twitter under Imperatus9 at Imperatus9. Hit me up on there if you have any questions or you got some albums you might want me to look into or anything of the sort. Thank you.